we have liftoff, I like to say. Yay, I love it when things
Yeah.
finally come together. Yes, hey, awesome. Well, hello everyone out there in internet land. Hopefully everyone is still doing well, in staying safe and all that good stuff. I have a dear friend of mine joining us today that I'm so excited to not only have the opportunity to have her on this little platform with me, but also I just love the opportunity to get to catch up with Gina. So Miss Gina Duncan, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Toby, my dear friend, it's so good to see you again, and it's so good to be on with you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to, like I said, it's good to actually to see you, right? It's unusual
Yeah,
times that we are in. I will get into
indeed.
our background a little bit and the changes and everything that we're going through and see how you're dealing with that. But your current position is the State Director of Transgender Equality with Equality Florida. Am I saying that right? It's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I have the good fortune of leading the Transgender Inclusion Initiative for the state of Florida, for the state's largest LGBTQ advocacy organization.
Yeah, so tell
Um,
me a little, yeah, tell me more about Equality Florida for those people that are watching that might have heard of Equality Florida, seen you specifically. I see you on the news sometimes. So what is Equality Florida? What do you guys do?
Well, we're a 20-year organization. We've been around for over 20 years at this point. We have over 300,000 members across the state, and we work for full equality for the LGBTQ community in the state of Florida.
Nice.
Our platform involves everything from public policy work to my platform, which is transgender inclusion as an out, proud transgender woman. We also have an HIV support program. We have a program that is so important in the state of Florida, our Safe and Healthy Schools program that is working with the 67 school districts across the state to provide them with guidance and understanding in reference to ensuring that all of our schools are safe and welcoming for all LGBTQ diverse young people.
Well, yeah, I know you guys do a lot of great work. Just in hearing that, even if this is a brand new conversation to you, and hearing that when you're talking about touching and helping and educating youth, I think anyone can appreciate that you're doing a lot of good work, at spreading the message and yeah, like you said, helping everyone be included. Now I know that you personally do a lot of speaking, a lot of training within corporations and with groups and associations. So I'm guessing your life's been impacted in that way, for one, amongst other things, because you're not doing any of your big corporate training gigs like you constantly are.
Yeah, last year, for example, I did 56 transgender dynamics in the workplace, excuse me, workshops across the country. And yeah, due to obviously, the pandemic and safety concerns, we've postponed those,
Yeah.
or we have gone, virtual in doing, online workshops and things like that. But um, we've seen in the 6 years that I've been with Equality Florida that our major employers have really been leaders in reference to developing policy and protocol to support the transgender and non-binary community. And as you know, I experienced this at Wells Fargo in transitioning while being the regional manager for Wells Fargo, overseeing 26 branches, and really having an amazingly supportive experience with Wells Fargo. And a lot of the policies and protocols that I experienced in my personal journey are a lot of the basics and the foundation of what I use in my corporate trainings now, because they were valid and certainly impactful then, and they certainly apply now. And we've seen that major corporations are really leading the different parts of our society as far as really wanting to get this right.
Yeah.
Because I think overall they see that it provides them a competitive advantage.
Yeah, an
And that
opportunity.
they're able to, reach out, and especially, with young people, the millennials and, the other generations, are looking for employers that get it as
Yeah.
far as diversity and inclusion, so people can really bring their best and their brightest to work.
Yeah.
And so it provides companies, by having a platform that is inclusive, a competitive advantage to be able to attract people, hire, retain, recruit, all the way to retirement.
Yep, that's a really great point. And it's interesting because who better than you to, like you said, you went through your transition while working for one of the largest corporations in the country. So yeah, you really bring not only expertise but experience when you're going out and speaking with teams, speaking with corporations. Do you have a set, out of curiosity, if someone's watching this and they lead an organization and they'd like to bring you in as a speaker once things get back to normal, or like you said, I guess you could do virtual, right? You could do some virtual.
Yeah, we can do both.
Even right now. But do you have set programs, set topics? Do you customize it, or is it for that what that company might need, or is it kind of your normal delivery, your normal presentation? Is it a broad reaching that really helps all different industries? In other words, is there any industry that you specifically talk with, or is it could benefit any organization?
Yeah, we started just doing transgender dynamics in the workplace, which was mainly geared towards major employers. But we found over the years that there's been such a need in different aspects of society, to where we've developed it to where we have transgender dynamics in healthcare, transgender dynamics in law enforcement, transgender dynamics in the media.
Yeah.
So we have customized workshops for all segments of society, even speaking to our faith-based organizations in reference to how do you develop an inclusive and safe environment in your church or in your fellowship, in what you're doing as far as bringing people in and having them feel welcome and safe. Yeah. So we have customized workshops in all of those areas that in the past have been live workshops. They're half-day workshops. They're very affordable. We've gotten rave reviews to where we've kind of moved into being referred to like the EEOC. Yeah. We've done a series of workshops for the EEOC across the state, 4 at this point. So we're seeing that different parts of society are seeing our work and seeing the value of it. And it was a very busy in 2019, and 2020 was starting that way. I had 8 workshops planned for the first quarter, and those have been pushed back to this point, from Tennessee to Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, you're all
so yeah, but each part of our society kind of looks at this through a different lens.
Right.
So what is important in in healthcare is totally different than what law enforcement and their language and the protocols, and kind of the engagement of the trans community with law enforcement officers is a different environment than, of course, in healthcare. Yeah. So they need to be customized. So we're very specific and intentional in developing really comprehensive workshops that address those needs of those different parts of our society.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and just to say it again, just to brag on you, because you won't brag on yourself, but yeah, Gina's position at Wells Fargo was that she ran a huge region, like she mentioned, she had a very big role within that corporation. So, and was a great leader and still is a great leader. And you're a great speaker. I'm sure it's still out there. You actually did a TED Talk, which is, I envy you, and all my friends are jealous because you did a TED Talk already a few years ago, right?
I did. I was so fortunate in being invited to do a TED Talk in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. At the Meisner Auditorium, which is an indoor-outdoor venue in Fort Lauderdale. Excuse me. And 2,100 people were in the audience. And just, talk about one of those bucket list items. Yeah. It was amazing. It went very well. The audience was amazingly gracious, and it was really one of those life moments that was so gratifying, and I'm so glad I did that. It's out there on YouTube. So if you Google Gina Duncan, it'll come up.
I encourage everyone to do that because it's a fantastic talk. You did a great job, and it really does a great job of explaining your background and your story a little bit. So I encourage everybody to check that out.
Thank you.
So COVID-19. So this is every single person on this planet is impacted in some ways by this unusual circumstance that we find ourselves in. And you and I had a little conversation last week when we were talking about specifically the work that you're doing in the LGBTQ community, how this COVID-19 is really impacting that community. Can you share some of the things that we talked about last week?
Yeah, and it's interesting that sometimes in times of crisis, a brighter light is shined on deficiencies within our culture. And not to use this as a direct comparison, but in working within the community, we found after the Pulse tragedy that there were parts of our community who really didn't have a seat at the table, like our Q Latinx community, people of color in general. Yeah. So it was an educational moment as we worked out of the tragedy and the loss of so many in our community. But similarly, but of course not directly comparing the two, we found that during the COVID-19 crisis and pandemic, we're seeing that certain issues are arising that are directly impacting the LGBTQ community, and especially transgender people, and especially transgender people of color. We've seen that kind of the 4 priorities that we're working on right now and working in local municipalities to improve these areas is, number 1, transgender people have been impacted, of course, in employment. The transgender dynamic in general, are you on the front lines? They're kind of frontline workers. They're entertainers, they're service staff, things like that. Sadly, our demographic has a median income which is $10,000 below the average median income for the general population. So we do find that our community is kind of the hourly worker who gets immediately impacted by a shutdown like this. So we're seeing employment, we're seeing income disparities, obviously. We're seeing housing issues in people losing their homes and being homeless. And then that's relating to the healthcare issues around transgender people, which also relates to mental health and transgender people being able to cope through, and they're already dealing with a lot in being transgender, as far as, are they included in the workplace? Are they welcome in their church and things like that? And then you layer on a situation like this, and it elevates a lot of issues that we need to address. Right. And we're working to support that community. In major municipalities like South Florida, Central Florida, St. Pete, Tampa area, there are groups that we are supporting that are putting together programs that are providing those direct services, helping people with temporary housing, helping people with finding food and shelter, of course, and then also helping people in reference to, can they retool their employment situation, maybe work at this time into going into a different line of work, which may sustain them better after this is over. So it's an important issue. We've also found, oddly, that some unusual things we didn't anticipate have come up. And one that's been somewhat pervasive is, and that we certainly didn't expect, is with the healthcare situations around COVID-19. A lot of transgender people who were about to have their gender reassignment surgery done have been postponed because these have been considered cosmetic or not urgent surgeries. And so their surgeries have been postponed, which has caused a great deal of mental stress for those people about to do that. And when you think about this, this means someone, coming to a point in their transition and their journey to have gender reassignment surgery is a big deal. Yeah. And there's a lot to it in reference to lining, time off with your employer making sure you have insurance coverage for as much of that as possible, coordinating with people to take care of your kids if you have children, things like that. And then all of a sudden, with all this planned, you get the plug gets pulled, and we found that there's been a lot of instances across the state where transgender people have been seeking mental health care to help them cope through this radical change in their life plan, and to be able to support them during this time. Something we didn't expect or anticipate, but certainly is a real issue, and is something that we're working hard to support that part of our community.
If someone's watching and where would be the best place for them to find out what help is available in their area?
Number one, I would recommend that they go to our Equality Florida website. You can find us at eqfl.org. That's eqfl.org. And there, click on Transaction, which is my program area. And there we have our Transaction Resource Guide, Transgender Resource Guide, which is a statewide guide that has 600 listed resources where people can find, based on their region, based on their city, the needs that they're looking for, from health care to mental health care, soup to nuts, hair and makeup to all of those kind of things.
That's great. Now I know that you have something coming up next weekend, I guess it is, right? April 26th. Gosh, that'll be here before you know it. Not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Yes.
Equality
We're
Live.
so excited.
Yeah, what's that about?
We're so excited. We are on the 26th. We are going to be doing an equality extravaganza called Equality Live, which is going to be an all-day online event, a gala online, if you will, a virtual gala with entertainers, information, inspirational speakers, some star-studded, cast that we put together. And it's all to not only support the community and bring us all together, but also to raise funds for supporting the work at Equality Florida. Due to COVID-19, Equality Florida has had to cancel 5 of our statewide galas. And as we should, to make sure everyone stays safe. But our galas are a big part of our funding stream at Equality Florida. So this is to kind of fill in some of those financial gaps. We are very fortunate that this year we were approved by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, AHF, for their Equality Walk program, their AIDS Walk program, to where they will match dollar for dollar. Every dollar we raise, they will match that. So basically anything we raise will be doubled. So we're asking everyone to please go to, again, eqfl.org. You can find our Equality Live either on my page on Facebook, or you can find it there. And if you will, please donate to support all the good work that Equality Florida is doing all across the state. It's really important.
Now, is it going to be, so it's like a telethon that's streamed live online?
Yeah, it's going to be live. Yeah, it's going to be a live virtual gala. And I can't say right now.
Yeah.
We've got some amazing speakers and inspirational leaders that people will recognize, on a state and national level. And we're really excited about it. We think it's going to be an amazing.
Yeah.
At the end of the evening, the 7 o'clock block with our executive director, Nadine Smith, kind of giving us a state of the organization, as well as an inspirational message to the community. And we found that our galas across the state aren't just fundraisers. We find that it's really an opportunity in all of our major cities in the state of Florida, for our community to come together and to catch up and to hear from inspirational speakers and our leadership and things like that. But it's really about community. It's really about people coming together and with shared values and supporting each other and really feeling that they're not alone. Yeah. So in doing this event, that was part of the goal in structuring this, was how do we bring everyone together so you feel like we're communicating, we're together, at least virtually. So it's for a good cause. It's, you know, dollar for dollar match. It'll be wonderful. And we don't expect everyone, it's from 2 to 8 o'clock. So we don't expect everyone to sit there all Sunday and do that, but check in and out. There's different segments that we'll be releasing. Like one block will be covering the St. Pete market. One will be for South Florida and that kind of thing. So we'll have different segments that address different parts of the state and that community as well. So dial in during your session, you know, check it out. We'll be putting out more information between now and then in reference to those different blocks. And you will probably see some folks you know.
Awesome. And I'll be sharing it on all my platforms. And I encourage everyone to connect with you so that they follow you, not just about this event, but about future events. Like you mentioned, you have some really great galas throughout the year. Are you a Facebooker mainly, a LinkedIn, Instagram, all of them, where, you know, if someone said, I'll go to one place and with you, where's your jam? Where's your main place that you like to use? What platform?
Mainly Facebook and not Instagram, but LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
You can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. And on Facebook, we have a group that at this point has over 400 trans and non-binary leaders from across the state who are part of that group. So you can also join us at Transaction Florida. That's Transaction Florida. And join our group. Information, resources, programs, you know, we gather together there to like rally to push back against bad legislation happening somewhere in the state. We rally there to get everyone together to go to Tallahassee to push for equal rights legislation, which we continue to do, to like push for the statewide non-discrimination bill, the Competitive Workforce Act that we've now been working on for almost a decade, to pass a statewide policy that provides non-discrimination protections against people, again, based on sexual orientation and gender identity in the areas of housing, employment, and public accommodation. So, you know, those are priorities for us moving forward to finally get that passed after a decade. And it takes a family, it takes a community to rally together. You know, that certainly can be done at our Facebook group. And then we all trundle up to Tallahassee, talk to our legislators, and at some point in time, we're going to get this done. It's just a matter of time.
10 years, as you're saying that, I'm just thinking what a long period of time that is, Gina, to be working on something. That takes a commitment, you know?
It does.
I know the community, but I can't say it enough. You're really a champion in the LGBTQ world, and you just do a yeoman's job on you know, traveling and speaking up and really being an advocate. So so I'm proud to call you my friend, because I like to see everything that you're doing, and you're so passionate, and it's just really great. So I encourage everyone to connect with you. Let me ask you something kind of fun. So what have you been, I know you've been busy, but have you been doing anything fun? I don't know, watching any good shows or doing, you were cycling for a while. Are you still
do, yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoy long distance cycling, so I do a lot of that.
Do you still?
And I'm a mountain person, so I escape up to North Carolina as much as possible. For the longest time, I had a cabin up in Banner Elk, North Carolina, so I escape to North Carolina as much as I can.
Yeah.
And then I have to say, you know, staying at home sometimes has its advantages. I finally got to see The Greatest Showman. And oh my gosh, the soundtrack to that is just so amazing. I now have it on all my devices, and I'm just like blowing the walls out in my condo, playing those songs because they're so inspirational and they so relate to our community. So, so yeah, it's not all bad. I've been I read Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, which is amazingly inspirational. So I'm trying to use some of the downtime in between Zoom calls, which are which are never ending.
Yes.
You know, everyone's shifted to doing this
Yep.
platform. So we're seeing a lot of that. So the work gets done, but at the same time, you have to budget some personal time,
Yeah.
some self-care time.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that through biking and reading and catching up on movies I haven't seen.
Yeah, exactly. It is good. To your point, I'd never watched, never been a much of a series watcher myself. Like, I don't know, TV shows and that kind of thing. And never in over this last month, I've all those shows that people have been talking about for years. I'm going back and starting to watch some of those. Now I get it. Now I understand why people like some of these shows. It's really good content, really great writing and acting. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got to say, I binged watch all of the Game of Thrones. I didn't
Not
watch
watch
that
Game of
when it was
Thrones.
going on.
Is it great?
I couldn't quit watching it. It was just like dawn to dusk. I was watching episode after episode. So
You
yeah,
know it's good when you're like, one more. What time is it?
yeah, I know. It's
I
only midnight, right?
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool though. There's some really neat stuff out there for sure. Well, listen, I will let you back to it because like you said, I know you're busy and you're getting ready for the telethon for the Equality Live coming up right around the corner. So you and I, once we get back to normal world here a little bit, and when you're not traveling, we'll get together for dinner. But thanks for jumping on here, Gina, and I hope you and your family stay safe through all this craziness.
You too, Toby. I really appreciate you having me on, and everyone out there, Equality Florida really appreciates your support, and know that we are still fighting for you, and we're fighting for equality, and we will stay the course.
Awesome. Here, here. All right, my friend. Take care. I'll
Thanks,
see you
Toby.
later. All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Be
Bye.
safe.
Thanks. You too. Bye.